The vast emptiness of space stretched between the stars in the Andromeda Arm, silent and peaceful. Until it wasn't. "Commander, we're picking up an unusual signal," reported sensor technician Vral, her crystalline fingers hovering over the control panel. The soft blue glow of her console reflected off her fasted skin. Science Commander Xylith glided across the bridge of the Lyrican exploration vessel, Harmonic Discovery. Like all Lyricans, Xylith's body resembled polished quartz, transparent, in some areas opaque in others, with inner light pulsing gently with each thought. "Show me," Xylith ordered, their voice a melodic hum. The main screen flickered to life, displaying a wave pattern that pulsed with strange regularity. The Lyricans had explored this sector for decades, cataloging stellar phenomena and searching for signs of other intelligent life. But this pattern was unlike anything in their extensive databases. "Origin point?" Xylith asked, leaning forward. "A previously unexplored system, Commander. Approximately 3 light days from our current position." Xylith's inner light flashed. With excitement, the Lyrican Alliance had peaceful contact with 26 other spacefaring species within the Galactic Council. Each new encounter brought knowledge, trade, and friendship. Perhaps this signal represented yet another civilization to welcome into their community. "Analysis?" Vral adjusted her controls. "The pattern repeats consistently. Our translation matrix suggests a distress call." Xylith's light dimmed slightly. A call for help demanded immediate response. The Alliance had built its reputation on compassion and assistance. Alert the Council that we're investigating a potential first contact situation. Set course for the signal's origin. Standard approach protocols. As the Harmonic Discovery changed direction, none of the Lyricans could know they were heading toward what future historians would call the Great Miscalculation. 3 light days away, the human research vessel ESS Pathfinder drifted in space, its hull punctured in multiple locations. Inside, emergency lighting cast red shadows across the command deck as Captain Eliza Chen reviewed damage reports. "Status. Update, Rodriguez," she demanded, pushing a lock of dark hair from her sweat-streaked forehead. Chief Engineer Rodriguez looked up from his tablet. Life support stable but running on backups. Hull breaches sealed in sections 4 through 7. Main engines offline. Communications array badly damaged. We're broadcasting emergency signals, but can't direct them or receive responses. Chen nodded, grimly. The stellar anomaly they'd been sent to study had turned out to be more volatile than expected. A sudden ejection of matter, something between an asteroid field and a radiation storm, had caught them by surprise. The Pathfinder had survived, but just barely. "Casualty report?" Chen asked, her voice steady despite her fear. 3 injured in engineering. Dr. Morton is treating them in medical. No fatalities. Small mercies, Chen thought. Keep the distress beacon running. Someone will hear us. What she didn't say was how long that might take. The Pathfinder had ventured beyond mapped space. It could be weeks before another human vessel detected their signal. "Captain," called out Ensign Walsh from the sensor station. "I'm detecting. Approaching vessels, configuration unknown." Chen straightened in her chair. "Unknown? Are they ours?" "Negative, Captain. Design doesn't match any Earth or colonial ships." Walsh's hands flew over his console. "They're like nothing I've ever seen." Hope and apprehension warred in Chen's mind. First contact was always a possibility for deep space missions, but no one expected it to happen during an emergency situation with a crippled ship. "Defensive systems. Minimal power to point defense only," Rodriguez reported. "Main weapons are offline with the engine systems." Chen took a deep breath. "Standard first contact protocols. Broadcast greetings on all frequencies. Let's hope whoever they are, they're friendly." The Harmonic Discovery emerged from FTL travel with 2 escort vessels flanking it. On the bridge, Commander Xylith studied the strange ship on their view screen. "Scan it," they ordered. "Unusual construction," reported the science officer. "Metal hull, multiple compartments. The vessel appears damaged. I'm detecting atmosphere leaks and power fluctuations." "Life signs?" "Yes, Commander. Carbon-based, oxygen-breathing. Approximately 50 individuals." Xylith's inner light pulsed with excitement and concern. "A new species and they're in trouble. Prepare to render assistance. As the Lyrican vessels approached the damaged ship, they broadcast standard greeting patterns, mathematical sequences designed to demonstrate intelligence and peaceful intentions. "Commander," called the communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the vessel. Audio only. Play it." A strange voice filled the bridge, harsh and flat compared to the musical tones of Lyrican speech. The words were incomprehensible, but the transmission patterns matched those of a formal greeting. "They're trying to communicate," Xylith said. "Move closer. Prepare to extend our boarding tunnel." As the harmonic discovery closed the distance, their sensors detected something alarming. "Energy spike," shouted the tactical officer. "The alien vessel is powering up some kind of directed energy system." Aboard the Pathfinder, Captain Chen watched the approaching alien vessels with a mixture of hope and caution. Their design was beautiful, crystalline structures that seemed to shimmer with inner light. "Any response to our greetings?" she asked. "Nothing we can understand," Walsh replied, "but they're getting closer. I think they're coming to help." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "What now?" Chen demanded. Rodriguez looked up in shock. "Automated defense systems are activating. The damage must have triggered a malfunction in the threat assessment protocols." "Shut them down," Chen ordered. "I can't." Rodriguez's fingers flew across his panel. "The safety overrides are in the damaged sections. The system is registering the approaching vessels as unknown hostiles." Chen watched in horror as the Pathfinder's point defense lasers fired a warning burst. Not enough to damage the alien ships, but certainly enough to be interpreted as hostile. Commander Xylith recoiled as energy beams flashed from the damaged vessel. "Evasive action," they ordered. The Lyrican ships pulled back immediately. "Were we hit?" Xylith demanded. "Negative, Commander." The energy discharge appeared to be a warning. Xylith's inner light pulsed with confusion. Why would a damaged vessel fire upon potential rescuers? Unless... "This species may be naturally aggressive," suggested the tactical officer. "Many evolutionary paths lead to territorial defensive responses." Xylith considered their options. Lyrican protocol for encountering potentially hostile species was clear. Retreat and report to the Galactic Council. "We will withdraw to a safe distance," they decided. "Continue monitoring the vessel. Perhaps they will realize our peaceful intentions." As the Lyrican ships retreated, Xylith sent an emergency message to the Council. "Encountered damaged vessel of unknown origin. Species appears technologically advanced but responded aggressively to rescue attempt. Awaiting instructions." "They're leaving," Walsh reported, disbelief in his voice. "The alien ships are moving away." Captain Chen slammed her fist against her armrest. "Can we hail them? Explain the malfunction?" Rodriguez shook his head. "Communications are still down. We can only broadcast the automated distress signal." Chen stared at the retreating alien vessels on the view screen. Their first chance at rescue, their first contact with an alien civilization, ruined by a computer error. "Keep trying to shut down those defense systems," she ordered, "and pray that someone else finds us before we run out of air." What none of them realized was that their distress signal continued to pulse outward through space, not just toward human space, but also toward the heart of the Galactic Council. And on both sides, warships were already beginning to move. The great miscalculation had begun. The great chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 27 spacefaring species gathered in the circular hall, their voices creating a symphony of different tones and languages. Overhead, the transparent dome revealed the stars, a reminder of what united them all. High Chancellor Eloxy of the Lyrican Alliance stood at the central podium, their crystalline form glittering under the soft lights. The inner glow of their body pulsed with concern as they addressed the assembly. "Honored representatives," Eloxy began, their voice a melodic hum. "I have called this emergency session to discuss a matter of great importance. 3 days ago, one of our exploration vessels encountered an unknown species in the outer rim." The chamber quieted as images appeared on the large screens circling the room. The damaged human ship floated against the backdrop of unfamiliar stars. As you can see, their vessel was severely damaged. Our ships approached to offer assistance, following first contact protocols. The next image showed the energy discharge from the Pathfinder's point defense systems. Gasps echoed through the chamber. They responded with weapons fire. Eloxy continued. Our ships retreated without engaging, as per our non-confrontation directives. War Admiral Carthix of the Viridian species rose from his seat. Unlike the crystalline Lyricans, the Viridians resembled massive insects, with segmented bodies covered in iridescent blue-green exoskeletons. As the military leaders of the coalition, they approached all new situations with caution. Chancellor, Carthix's voice clicked and rasped through his translator. Our analysis of this encounter is troubling. The design of their vessel includes multiple weapon emplacements. Even damaged, they chose aggression over communication. Eloxy's light dimmed slightly. We cannot jump to conclusions, Admiral. Perhaps there was a misunderstanding. Carthix tapped a command into his personal console. New images appeared on the screens, enhanced scans of the Pathfinder, with its defensive systems highlighted. These are not the weapons of a peaceful research vessel, he insisted. And there is more. Our translation matrix has been analyzing their distress signal. A sound filled the chamber, the pulsing pattern of the Pathfinder's emergency beacon. The council representatives listened uncomfortably to the alien rhythm. Our experts believe this is not merely a call for help, Carthix continued. The pattern contains embedded commands likely calling for military reinforcements. Murmurs of alarm spread through the chamber. Eloxy raised their hands for silence. This is speculation, Admiral. We cannot afford to wait, Carthix interrupted, his mandibles clicking in agitation. If this is an advanced scout for a hostile species, every moment we delay puts coalition worlds at risk. I propose an immediate containment operation. The Mao Council erupted in debate. Some species sided with the cautious approach of the Lyricans, while others supported the Viridians' call for action. After hours of discussion, a vote was called. The results glowed on the central display. 16 for containment, 11 for continued observation. Eloxy's inner light pulsed with resignation. The Council has spoken. Admiral Carthix, you are authorized to lead a peacekeeping force to the coordinates. Your mission is to assess the threat and neutralize it if necessary. As the Council session disbanded, Eloxy approached Carthix privately. Remember, Admiral, your orders are to contain, not to provoke. If there is any possibility of peaceful contact, I understand my duty, Chancellor. Carthix interrupted. The safety of the coalition comes first. Always. Captain Eliza Chen stared at the ceiling of her quarters aboard the Pathfinder. 3 weeks had passed since the alien ships had departed. 3 weeks of dwindling supplies and failing systems. The intercom on her wall buzzed. Captain to the bridge, came Rodriguez's voice, tinged with something she hadn't heard in weeks. Hope. Chen rushed through the corridors, passing crew members who looked up with curious expressions. When she reached the bridge, Rodriguez and Walsh were hunched over the communications console. Report, Chen ordered. Walsh looked up, his face split in a wide grin. We got a response, Captain. Someone heard our distress call. Our people? Chen asked, hardly daring to believe it. Rodriguez nodded. It's the military outpost at Proxima Centauri. They received our signal and relayed it to Earth Command. Chen felt her knees weaken with relief. She steadied herself against a console. What's the message? Walsh tapped his screen and a voice crackled through the speakers. ESS Pathfinder, this is Admiral Raj Nassar of Earth Fleet Command. We have received your distress signal and calculated your position. Hold tight. The 11th fleet is being dispatched to your location. Estimated arrival time, 4 days. Hang in there, Pathfinder, help is coming. The bridge crew erupted in cheers. Chen allowed herself a smile, but her thoughts turned to the alien ships that had approached them weeks ago. Any sign of those crystalline vessels returning? She asked. Walsh checked his sensors. Nothing, Captain. No sign of any alien activity in our vicinity. Chen nodded slowly. Keep monitoring all frequencies. and see if engineering can get those defensive systems under manual control. I don't want any more misunderstandings when help arrives. Aboard the Viridian Dreadnought Immutable Justice, Admiral Karthix reviewed the battle plans with his commanders. The holographic display showed 40 coalition vessels arranged in formation. Our target is here. Karthix indicated the position of the human ship. Intelligence suggests it is damaged but dangerous. We will approach in containment formation. Alpha. A Viridian tactical officer raised a clawed appendage. Admiral, what if they attempt communication? All transmissions will be routed through our translation matrix, Karthix replied. But remember, their previous behavior suggests deception. They fired upon a peaceful Lyrican vessel. We must be prepared for hostility. The ship's sensor officer suddenly straightened. Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting multiple energy signatures approaching the target coordinates. Show me, Karthix ordered. The holographic display shifted, revealing new data. Instead of a single damaged vessel, 15 large ships were decelerating from faster-than-light travel near the Pathfinders. Position. Reinforcements, Karthix hissed. Just as we feared. The signal was indeed a military alert. The Viridian commanders clicked their mandibles in alarm. This was no longer a simple containment operation. Time to intercept? Karthix demanded. 6 hours, Admiral. Karthix studied the holographic ships, his compound eyes reflecting the light. They do not know we are coming. We still have the element of surprise. Adjust battle plans to contingency Omega. As his commanders rushed to comply, Karthix sent a secure message to the Galactic Council. Unknown vessels have multiplied. Suspected military fleet now present at target coordinates. Proceeding with containment operation as authorized. Request full coalition military alert. What neither the humans nor the coalition understood was that they were rushing toward each other based on a fundamental misunderstanding. A translation error that was about to transform a rescue mission into the first interspecies battle in galactic history. The mistake was now in motion, and there would be no easy way to stop it. Fleet Commander Raj Nassar stood on the bridge of the EFS Intrepid, flagship of humanity's 11th Fleet. Tall and broad-shouldered, with deep brown skin and close-cropped hair streaked with gray, Nassar commanded respect with his mere presence. 25 years in Earth Space Forces had prepared him for many situations, but a rescue mission beyond charted space still made him uneasy. Status report, he ordered, his deep voice calm despite the tension he felt. All 15 vessels. In position, Commander, reported his second-in-command, Captain Lin. The Pathfinder is approximately 50,000 kilometers ahead. Their distress beacon is still active. Nassar nodded. Open a channel. Channel open, sir. ESS Pathfinder. This is Commander Nassar of the 11th Fleet. We've arrived to render assistance. Please respond. After a moment of static, a woman's voice came through. 11th Fleet, this is Captain Chen of the Pathfinder. You have no idea how good it is to hear your voice. Nassar smiled. Sit tight, Captain. We're sending rescue shuttles to... Commander, interrupted his sensor officer. Multiple vessels approaching at high speed. Configuration unknown. Nassar's smile vanished. Unknown? Pirates? Negative, sir. Design doesn't match any known human or pirate vessels. Energy signatures are alien. Before Nassar could respond, another transmission came through from the Pathfinder. Commander Nassar. Captain Chen's voice was urgent now. Be advised, we encountered alien vessels 3 weeks ago. There was a misunderstanding. Our automated defenses fired on them when they approached to help. They retreated, but they might have interpreted it as hostile action. Nassar processed this information quickly. First contact, and it had gone wrong. This complicated matters significantly. Understood, Pathfinder. All vessels, defensive formation Bravo. Weapon systems on standby only. Let's not make the situation worse. The human fleet shifted, surrounding the damaged Pathfinder in a protective screen. Nassar had studied the theoretical first contact protocols. Now he would have to apply them in a tense, real-world situation. Broadcast on all frequencies, he ordered. Basic mathematical sequences followed by greeting messages in all Earth languages. Let's show them we want to talk, not fight. Admiral Karthix watched the human vessels rearrange themselves on his tactical display. The Coalition fleet was still 20 minutes from engagement range, but already the situation was developing in unexpected ways. "They've detected us," noted his tactical officer. "They're moving to surround the damaged vessel." "Attack formation?" Karthix asked. "Unclear, Admiral. It could be defensive." Karthix clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. The humans' quick detection of his fleet was surprising. Their technology might be more advanced than initially estimated. "We're receiving transmissions from the human fleet," reported his communications officer. "Complex patterns. Our matrix is attempting to translate." "Show me." The main screen displayed wave patterns that pulsed in regular sequences. Prime numbers, mathematical constants, simple geometric progressions. "Basic communication attempts. They're trying to establish contact," suggested his science officer. Karthix remained skeptical. "Or distracting us while they prepare to attack. Maintain course. Surround their formation as planned." As the Coalition fleet approached, Karthix noticed something odd about the human ships. "Magnify their vessels," he ordered. The screen zoomed in on one of the human warships. Its design was blocky and functional, covered in armor plating and weapon ports. Nothing like the smooth, elegant vessels of Coalition species. "They built their ships for war," Karthix observed. "Look at the reinforced hull structures, the redundant systems. These aren't peaceful explorers. These are warriors." "Admiral," called his sensor officer, voice rising with alarm. "We're detecting energy buildups in the human vessels. They could be preparing weapons." Aboard the Intrepid, Nassar frowned at his tactical display. The alien fleet, 40 vessels of various sizes, had spread out, clearly intending to encircle his forces. "That's not a welcoming committee," muttered Captain Lin. "No," agreed Nassar, "but we still don't know their intentions. Continue broadcasting greeting sequences." "Sir," called Lieutenant Amara Santos from the communication station, "I've been analyzing their approach pattern. It matches classic encirclement tactics from Earth's naval warfare history." Nassar's frown deepened. "They're treating this as a combat situation. Should we power up weapon systems?" asked Lin. Nassar hesitated. Firing first would confirm whatever suspicions the aliens held. Not firing might leave his fleet vulnerable. "Defensive systems only," he decided. "Shields up, point defense active, but main weapons remain on standby." As the alien fleet drew closer, tension on the bridge increased. Every officer remained at their station, watching the approaching vessels with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "Sir," Santos called suddenly, "the Pathfinder is transmitting data on the aliens they encountered. Crystalline beings with advanced technology. Their ships appear similar to some in the approaching fleet." Before Nassar could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. "Energy spike from the lead alien vessel," shouted the tactical officer. "They're firing." A streak of blue energy lashed out from the largest alien ship, grazing one of the human escort vessels. Damage reports immediately flooded the communication channels. "The Jefferson reports minor hull damage," Lin reported. "No casualties." Nassar's decision was immediate. "All vessels, defensive protocols engaged. Return fire. Targeted strikes. Only disable, don't destroy." The human fleet responded with disciplined precision. Point defense lasers and railgun fire erupted toward the alien vessels. 3 smaller Coalition ships shattered under the barrage, while 2 human cruisers took damage from return fire. Lieutenant Santos frantically worked at her console. "Commander, I think there's a misunderstanding. The alien transmission patterns suggest they believe we're hostile invaders. Can we communicate with them? Make them understand?" Nassar demanded. "I'm trying," Santos typed furiously, creating a new message based on mathematical principles rather than language. Sending now, a universal sequence that should transcend cultural differences. But it was too late. The space around the Pathfinder had transformed into a battlefield. Energy, Beams and projectiles crisscrossed the void as both fleets engaged. The Coalition's superior numbers were offset by the humans' surprisingly effective weapons and tactics. "The alien flagship is targeting the Pathfinder," Lin shouted. "Intercept course," Nassar ordered. The Intrepid surged forward, placing itself between the damaged research vessel and the incoming attack. The impact shook the flagship violently. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks, and emergency systems activated throughout the ship. "Damage report," Nassar called out, pulling himself back into his command chair. "Hull breach on decks 3 through 5. Sealing emergency bulkheads," responded an officer through the smoke filling the bridge. As the battle intensified, Santos continued her desperate attempts at communication. Against direct orders, she broadcast her mathematical message on all frequencies, hoping someone on the alien side would understand. Unknown to her, a Coalition linguistics expert named Professor Naveen was indeed receiving her transmission. As weapons fire continued to flash between the fleets, he began to understand. This was not an invasion force but a rescue mission caught in a tragic misunderstanding. But would either side realize the truth before it was too late? News of the battle spread through human space like wildfire. In the grand meeting hall of the United Earth Government in New Geneva, emergency lights flashed as officials rushed to their seats. The chamber, with its curved walls and high ceiling, painted with scenes of humanity's greatest achievements, had never felt so tense. Fleet Admiral Javier Reyes, Supreme Commander of Earth's Combined Space Force, stood at the central podium. His weathered face, marked with scars from the Mars Belt. Conflict remained expressionless as he addressed the assembled officials. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice grave. 6 hours ago, our 11th Fleet engaged in combat with an unknown alien force. This marks humanity's first confirmed contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, and our first interspecies conflict. Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. Reyes raised a hand for silence. The battle occurred when our ships responded to a distress call from the research vessel Pathfinder. Commander Nassar reports that the alien fleet attacked first, but preliminary data suggests there may have been misunderstandings on both sides. President Olivia Chen, no relation to the Pathfinder's captain, leaned forward. "Admiral, what are we dealing with? How dangerous are these aliens?" Reyes tapped his tablet and a holographic image appeared above the podium, recordings from the battle showing the crystalline Coalition ships. "We don't know much yet." Commander Nassar managed to recover a damaged alien vessel for study. "Dr. Sophia Kim, our leading xenobiologist, is examining it now." He turned to a woman sitting in the front row. "Doctor, please share your preliminary findings." Dr. Kim approached the podium. Small and precise in her movements, she adjusted her glasses before speaking. "Thank you, Admiral. My team has been studying the recovered vessel and the biological material found inside." She displayed new images, close-ups of crystalline structures and strange technology. "These beings are fundamentally different from us in almost every way." She showed a comparison between human biology and what they had discovered. They evolved in environments we would consider paradisiacal: low gravity, stable climate, minimal predation. Their physical structures would shatter under Earth's gravity. They never developed the dense muscle mass, thick bones, or rapid healing abilities that humans take for granted. President Chen frowned. "Are you saying they're physically weaker than us?" "Dramatically so," Dr. Kim confirmed. "What's most fascinating is their neurological structure. They never developed our fight-or-flight responses. Their evolution favored cooperation over competition. They simply didn't need the aggressive survival adaptations that shaped human evolution." Admiral Reyes stepped forward again. "This explains their reaction to us. From their perspective, humans might appear as unstoppable monsters. Creatures evolved to survive conditions they would find lethal. Deathworlders," Dr. Kim added. "That's what they might call us. Beings from a planet so hostile that simply surviving it created a species they now perceive as a threat." The implications settled over the chamber like a heavy fog. Humanity had always wondered what first contact would be like, but few had considered that they might be the terrifying aliens in someone else's story. "I am declaring a state of emergency," President Chen announced. All military assets are on high alert. Admiral Reyes, prepare our defenses. We don't know if more alien ships are coming, but we must be ready. Meanwhile, in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, a similar scene unfolded. Reports of the battle had reached the Coalition capital, and emergency sessions were underway. Hi, Chancellor Eloxy stood before the representatives, their crystalline form dimmed with distress. Admiral Karthix's fleet has suffered significant losses. 15 vessels destroyed, 12 damaged. The unknown species, these humans, fought with unexpected effectiveness. Displays showed footage from the battle. Council members watched, in horror as human ships maneuvered with surprising agility, absorbing damage that would shatter Coalition vessels. How could they survive such impacts? Asked the Arcavian representative, their tentacles waving anxiously. Ambassador Thelox of the Arcavians, known for their analytical minds, stepped forward. Unlike many council species, the Arcavians resembled large cephalopods, their bodies housed in hovering water tanks. I believe I have an answer, Thelox said, projecting data onto the main screens. My team has been analyzing the astronomical data from the human's home system. What we've found is concerning. The screen showed a planet, blue and green with swirling white clouds. This is their world of origin. We call it Terra in our classification system. Class 12 gravity, nearly twice the Coalition average. Extreme weather patterns from freezing temperatures to scorching heat. Constant tectonic activity. And most alarmingly, thousands of predatory species. The council chamber filled with murmurs of disbelief. No sentient species could evolve in such conditions, protested a representative. And yet they did, Thelox continued. These humans didn't evolve to conquer, they evolved to survive. Their bodies are dense with muscle, their bones reinforced like structural steel. They can endure radiation levels that would kill most Coalition species. Their immune systems fight microscopic invaders constantly. Thelox displayed more images: human athletic competitions, workers in dangerous conditions, soldiers in combat training. They routinely engage in activities we would consider lethal. They deliberately expose themselves to danger for recreation. Their entertainment includes simulated combat. Their history is filled with conflicts among themselves that have shaped their technology and psychology. High Chancellor Eloxy's inner light pulsed with concern. You're suggesting we provoked a species that evolved as survivors? As warriors? Precisely, Thelox confirmed. And we did so by mistake. Admiral Karthix's fleet treated them as aggressors, but they were simply responding to a distress call from their damaged vessel. A new figure joined the conversation, Professor Naveen, the linguistics expert who had been studying the human transmissions during the battle. Chancellor, there's more, Naveen said, his 4 eyes blinking nervously. During the conflict, one human officer attempted communication using mathematical sequences, a universal language. I've been analyzing it, and I believe they were trying to explain the misunderstanding. Eloxy turned to face the council. We have made a grave error. These humans are not invaders. They are not conquerors. They are simply a species that survived against all odds, and now they believe we have attacked them without provocation. What do you propose, Chancellor? Asked a council member. We must attempt peaceful contact, Eloxy decided. Before this escalates further, I will personally lead a diplomatic mission. War Admiral Karthix, who had survived the battle and returned to report, stepped forward in protest. Chancellor, these creatures destroyed half my fleet. They are too dangerous to approach peacefully. And yet we must try, Eloxy insisted. Otherwise, we risk war with a species that evolved on a death world, a species that might view our aggression as an existential threat. If they mobilize their full military might against us. The thought remained unfinished, but every council member understood the implication. If humans had built the ships that decimated Karthix's fleet while merely responding to a distress call, what might they build when they believed their entire species was under threat? The revelation was clear. They had awakened something they didn't understand. And now they had to find a way to make peace before the Deathworlders unleashed their full potential. 3 Earth months after the initial conflict, humanity had mobilized on an unprecedented scale. Shipyards throughout the solar system worked around the clock, churning out vessels designed for combat. Colonial defense fleets consolidated into 5 massive battle groups, positioned strategically throughout human-controlled space. The Deathworlder fleet, as the media had dubbed it, stood ready for whatever might come next. Fleet Admiral Reyes's shuttle descended toward the frontier, colony of New Horizon. Through the viewport, he watched the planet grow larger, rolling grasslands, sparkling oceans, and the gleaming structures of humanity's newest settlement. Established only 15 years ago, New Horizon had already become a thriving community of 500,000 people. The shuttle landed at the colony's main spaceport where Governor Talia Rodriguez waited to greet him. "Admiral," she said, extending her hand, "welcome to New Horizon. I wish your visit came under better circumstances." Reyes shook her hand firmly. "As do I, Governor. How are your people handling the news?" "As well as can be expected. Some panic. At first, but now, determination. If aliens come here, they'll find we're not easy to intimidate." Reyes nodded approvingly. This frontier spirit was exactly why humanity had thrived among the stars. They walked together toward the colony's defense headquarters, a low bunker built into the hillside overlooking the main settlement. Inside, officers snapped to attention as Reyes entered the command center. "At ease," he said, moving to the central, holographic display. "Show me our current defensive positions." The display lit up, showing New Horizon and the surrounding space. 5 warships orbited the planet, with sensor arrays extending deep into the system. "Good," Reyes murmured. "New Horizon may be on the frontier, but you're well protected." Just then, a young officer rushed into the room. "Admiral! Governor! We've detected an unidentified vessel entering the system." "Coalition?" Reyes asked sharply. "Unknown." "Sir, configuration doesn't match anything we saw in the previous engagement. It's smaller and it's broadcasting on all frequencies." Reyes and Rodriguez exchanged glances. "What are they saying?" the governor asked. "That's just it, ma'am. It's not words. It's mathematical sequences, the same patterns Lieutenant Santos used during the battle." Reyes felt a chill run down his spine. "They're trying to communicate, put all forces on alert, but do not, I repeat, do not fire unless fired upon." Aboard the coalition diplomatic vessel Peaceful Discourse, Ambassador Thelox felt his tentacles quivering with anxiety inside his water tank. Beside him, Professor Naveen monitored the transmission equipment. "Are they receiving our message?" Thelox asked. Naveen's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Yes, Ambassador. Their defense systems have locked onto us, but they haven't fired." "That's encouraging." High Chancellor Eloxy moved to join them, their crystalline form glowing softly. "This is the most dangerous first contact in Coalition history. Everything depends on what happens in the next few minutes." The ship's captain approached. "Chancellor, we're receiving a response. They're allowing us to approach their space station in orbit. They've designated it as neutral ground for our meeting." Eloxy's glow brightened. "Then there is hope." The Peaceful Discourse moved slowly toward the human space station, a spinning wheel-shaped structure in orbit around New Horizon. As they docked, Eloxy addressed the small delegation. "Remember, we appear as alien to them as they do to us. Their bodies evolved for a world we would find lethal. Do not show fear, even if their appearance startles you." Admiral Reyes stood in the station's conference room, flanked by 2 security officers. Governor Rodriguez had insisted on joining him, despite the potential danger. "Are you sure about this?" he asked her quietly. "This is my colony," she replied. "I should be here." The door on the opposite side of the room slid open, and Reyes couldn't help but stiffen as the alien delegation entered. First came a floating tank containing what looked like a large octopus. Next was a being with 4 eyes and gray skin that walked on 2 legs but had 4 arms. Last was the most unusual, a creature that seemed made of living crystal, glowing with inner light. For a moment, Both groups simply stared at each other. Then Professor Naveen stepped forward, placing a device on the conference table. "Greetings, humans," he said, his voice translated through the device. "I am Professor Naveen of the Arcavian Scientific Academy. With me are Ambassador Thelox and High Chancellor Eloxy of the Galactic Council. We come in peace, seeking to understand." Reyes found his voice. "I am Fleet Admiral Javier Reyes of Earth's Combined Space Force. This is Governor Rodriguez of New Horizon Colony. You are the leaders of your warriors?" asked Eloxy through the translator. "I command our military forces," Reyes confirmed. "But we are not primarily warriors. We are explorers, colonists, scientists. We fight only when necessary." Thelox's tentacles moved inside his tank. "Yet you fight with remarkable effectiveness. Your vessels withstood attacks that would destroy ours. Your weapons broke through our strongest shields." Reyes frowned. "We defended ourselves when attacked. Nothing more." Naveen adjusted the translation device. "This is the misunderstanding we hope to correct. When your research vessel activated its defense systems, our exploration ship interpreted it as aggression. When your fleet arrived to rescue your damaged ship, we believed it was an invasion force. And we thought you were attacking without provocation," Rodriguez added. Neither side understood the other's intentions. Eloxy moved closer, their crystalline form catching the light. "You call your planet Earth. We would classify it as a death world, a planet with conditions that would kill most sentient species in our coalition. Your world shaped you differently than our world shaped us," Thelox continued. "High gravity made your body strong. Dangerous predators made you vigilant. Harsh conditions made you adaptable. What we see as frightening aggression, you experience as necessary caution." Reyes considered this. "And what we perceived as an unprovoked attack was actually fear of something you didn't understand." "Yes," Eloxy's light pulsed brightly. "You are Deathworlders to us, beings who evolved in conditions we find unimaginable. Your natural adaptations appear to us as terrifying weapons." For the first time since the aliens entered, Reyes relaxed. Slightly. "It seems we've both been operating under misconceptions." The meeting continued for hours as both sides shared information about their civilizations, biologies, and histories. Through Naveen's translation device, they began to bridge the vast gulf of understanding between species that had evolved in completely different environments. "Your coalition contains 27 species?" Rodriguez asked, amazed. "All living, together peacefully?" "Until we encountered you, yes," Eloxy admitted. "None of our member species evolved on worlds like yours. We have more in common with each other than with humanity." As the diplomatic exchange progressed, both sides realized the scale of the misunderstanding and how close they had come to a devastating war. Humanity's defensive capabilities, so terrifying to the coalition species, were simply the result of evolving on a world that demanded strength and resilience. Just as understanding began to take root, an urgent message interrupted their meeting. "Admiral Reyes," called a human officer rushing into the room. "Emergency transmission from Earth Command. Coalition military forces have launched attacks against our outposts in 3 systems." The aliens looked at each other in shock. "No," gasped Eloxy. "Admiral Carthix wouldn't dare." But the evidence was clear. While diplomacy progressed on New Horizon, the militant faction of the coalition had taken matters into their own hands. The conflict was far from over. The news of Admiral Carthix's offensive shattered the fragile peace in the conference room. Admiral Reyes immediately moved toward the door, his face hardening into the expression of a warrior. "Wait!" Chancellor Eloxy called out, their crystalline form pulsing with urgency. "This attack was not authorized by the Council. Carthix has gone rogue." Reyes paused, his hand hovering over his communication device. "Authorized or not, my people are under attack. I must respond." "And you should," Ambassador Thelox said, his tentacles waving emphatically inside his water tank. "But how you respond could determine whether we have peace or war between our civilizations." Governor Rodriguez stepped forward. "What are you suggesting?" Professor Naveen adjusted the translation device. If you unleash your full military might, your Deathworlder fleet, without restraint, many in the coalition will see it as confirmation of their worst fears about humanity. Reyes considered this. His duty was to protect human colonies, but he also understood the larger picture. This wasn't just about winning a battle. It was about the future relationship between humanity and the Galactic Coalition. "What do you propose?" he asked. Eloxy's inner light brightened. "I will transmit emergency codes to all Coalition vessels, declaring Karthix's attack unauthorized. Meanwhile, you defend your outposts, but with restraint. Show us that humans can be both powerful and merciful." After a moment of tense silence, Reyes nodded. He activated his communicator. "Earth Command, this is Admiral Reyes. Deploy the fleet to defend our outposts. Defensive positions only. No strikes against Coalition civilian assets. Disable rather than destroy enemy vessels when possible." He looked up at the aliens. "I hope your people recognize this restraint." "They will," Eloxy promised, already sending their own emergency message. Across 3 star systems, confusion spread through the Coalition attack fleet. Many captains received Eloxy's message and immediately broke off their attacks. Others, loyal to Admiral Karthix, pressed forward. "Ignore the Chancellor's transmission," Karthix ordered from his flagship, the Inexorable. "The humans must be contained before they expand further. This is for the protection of all Coalition species." The Inexorable led a formation of 12 warships toward Proxima Station, a major human outpost. As they approached, sensors detected human vessels moving to intercept. "They're coming to defend their station," reported his tactical officer. 5 ships matching the configuration from our previous engagement. Karthix clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. "Perfect. This time we know what to expect. All vessels, prepare to engage." Captain Maya Winters stood on the bridge of the human destroyer Komodo, watching the approaching Coalition vessels on her tactical display. At 34, she was young for her command, but her brilliance in the Mars Belt conflict had earned her rapid promotion. "Orders, Captain?" asked her executive officer. Admiral Reyes was clear, Winters replied. "Defensive positions only. We protect Proxima Station, but we show restraint." "The aliens are launching fighters," reported her tactical officer. "Attack formation." Winters studied the display, noting the larger vessel leading the Coalition formation. "That's their flagship. Focus our attention there. If we can disable it without destroying it, the others might withdraw." The Komodo and its 4 companion ships moved into formation, their point defense systems activating as Coalition fighters approached. The human vessels were outnumbered, but each was built to withstand punishment that would shatter a Coalition ship. "All hands prepare for high-G maneuvers," Winters ordered. "This is going to get rough." The battle for Proxima Station unfolded differently than any previous engagement between humans and the Coalition. The human ships moved with stunning agility, executing combat maneuvers that subjected their crews to gravitational forces that would kill most Coalition species. Aboard the Inexorable, Admiral Karthix watched in growing alarm as the human vessels wove between his formation, disrupting his carefully planned attack. "Target their engines," he ordered. "Immobilize them." His gunners tried, but the human ships moved too unpredictably. Meanwhile, their return fire was surgically precise, targeting weapons and propulsion systems rather than vulnerable life support sections. The Komodo suddenly accelerated to combat speeds that seemed impossible, swinging around behind the Inexorable. Before Karthix could react, precise weapons fire disabled his ship's main engines and primary weapon arrays. "Auxiliary power only," reported his engineer. "Weapons at 20% capacity." "How?" Karthix demanded. How could they be so precise? On his command screen, a transmission appeared, a live feed from one of his damaged vessels. It showed a Coalition ship that had been disabled but not destroyed. Human shuttles were approaching it, not to finish it off, but to evacuate injured Coalition crew members. Similar reports came in from the other battle zones. Human forces defended their outposts vigorously, but with remarkable restraint. They disabled Coalition vessels when possible, rescued stranded crews, and avoided civilian targets entirely. This footage, transmitted throughout Coalition space, did more than any diplomatic exchange to reveal humanity's true nature. It demonstrated not just their capacity for effective warfare, but also their capacity for mercy, a concept many Coalition species had not considered possible in Deathworld beings. 2 weeks later, a formal delegation from Earth met with the full Galactic Council. Admiral Reyes and Governor Rodriguez stood alongside Dr. Sophia Kim, representing humanity. Facing them were representatives of all 27 Coalition species. Chancellor Eloxy addressed the assembly. "We gather today to acknowledge a grave mistake and to forge a new path forward. Our first encounter with humanity was marred by misunderstanding and fear. We saw their defensive adaptations as inherent aggression." Ambassador Thelox continued. "But in the recent conflict, when they had every right to respond with full force, they showed restraint. They protected their people while minimizing casualties on our side. This is not the behavior of mindless aggressors." Lieutenant Santos, newly promoted to commander for her role in establishing communication, stood beside Professor Naveen. Together, they presented a comprehensive translation matrix that would prevent future misunderstandings between human and Coalition languages. "We evolved in different environments," Earth's representative told the Council. "You see our adaptations as threatening. We see your environmental advantages as enviable. But there is room enough in this galaxy for both our paths." After deliberation, the Galactic Council voted to recognize humanity not as a threat to be contained, but as a potential new member species, with unique perspectives and capabilities that could complement the Coalition. Admiral Karthix, stripped of his command for his unauthorized attack, watched from the sidelines. Even he could not deny the evidence before him. These Deathworlders were indeed formidable, but they were not the mindless conquerors he had feared. 6 months later, the repaired ESS Pathfinder, whose distress signal had triggered the crisis, docked at the Coalition's central station. Captain Eliza Chen and her crew stepped into the Grand Reception Hall, the first human delegation to officially visit Coalition space. Chen found herself face to face with Commander Xylith of the Lyrican vessel that had first discovered the damaged Pathfinder. "Who could have imagined that our misunderstanding would lead to this moment?" Xylith said through a translator. Chen smiled. "Sometimes the rockiest beginnings lead to the strongest foundations." Around them, humans and Coalition species mingled, cautiously but with growing comfort. The term Deathworlder, once used with fear, was now spoken with a mixture of respect and curiosity. Coalition scientists eagerly studied humans' adaptability, while human researchers marveled at the Coalition's diverse biologies and technologies. The misunderstood SOS that nearly triggered interstellar war had ultimately become the first note in an ongoing dialogue between fundamentally different yet equally valuable evolutionary paths. And the Deathworlder fleet, once mobilized for war, now served as a powerful symbol of humanity's place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors. As Captain Chen looked out the station's viewport at the stars beyond, she reflected that perhaps this was always humanity's destiny, not to fight against the universe that had forged them in such harsh conditions, but to use their hard-won strength to build something better for all species who shared the cosmos with them. Theordi. Andy.